Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel where, you know the drill by now, we answer all the unanswerable lore questions by looking at source material. Today we're going to continue the Norse mythology series by looking at runes, asking why they look like eyes in Elden Ring, and putting that in a wider discussion around the use of body parts in the game, like hands and fingers. But first of all, what actually are runes? Runes are the Germanic writing system that predated the introduction of Roman letters in Northern Europe with the coming of Christianity. They developed during the 1st century and were adapted to be easy to carve on hard surfaces like stone, mainly using straight lines. There are a few related runic scripts which developed over time, but all follow the same principles, with each letter or rune representing a single sound. In addition, each rune also had a name. The rune for the letter F, for example, is called Fe, which means money or property. In Norse mythology, runes had mystical properties. The old sagas contained stories of the gods using runes to bewitch each other, or of people getting sick because of badly cut healing runes. Letters may not hold much mystery in and of themselves anymore, but runes still do as an exotic relic of the ancient past, particularly in history and fantasy circles, and crop up a lot in fiction and games. Miyazaki, as we know, is a great fan of tabletop games like RuneQuest, and was no doubt influenced by the way those games creatively, if haphazardly, use runes as everything from currency to magic items and all sorts of things they never really were in practice. Runes are treated with some inconsistency in Elden Ring, but are basically analogous to souls in the Dark Souls series. There are a small number of great runes which compose the Elden Ring itself and have certain powerful functions. The Elden Ring and the runes it comprises is a rather messy topic which I'm going to deal with in a separate video. The second type are the basic runes we find in the world or win by defeating enemies. At the start of the game, these runes appear as indistinct, blurry forms, but as we progress, they reveal themselves as eyes. We need to ask why these second type of runes look like eyes. This ties into a larger theme we briefly touched on before, and the answer also helps us explain things like the fingers. Body parts show up a lot in Elden Ring because a lot of what we see in Elden Ring is lifted straight from Norse mythology, where the entire worldscape is repurposed from body parts. If you remember Ymir and the primordial giants from the etymology video, his murder is connected to the birth of the physical world. From Ymir's flesh the earth was made, and from his blood the sea, mountains from his bones, trees from his hair, and from his skull the sky. This is a warlike, exclusively male creation story, where matter has to be violently appropriated rather than birthed or created. Elden Ring takes this and gives it a bit of a Taoist spin, with a backstory about the world splintering apart from a so-called One Great, and worsens through the shattering. In this scheme, body parts represent different forces, with their strength growing or diminishing in line with their physical integrity. Hands, for example, seem to have a prophetic function, but in this shattered and confused world state, they point in one direction with 2 fingers towards order, and with the other 3 towards chaos. Eyes seem to represent power. Weak, faded eyes are worth little, but complete eyes contain great strength. 2 whole eyes contain Marika and Radagon's great runes and work as talismans. Isolated body parts like this seem to fit in with the general theme of brokenness and incompleteness, and strike me as a set of creative choices rather than ciphers for existing ideas. In other words, the 2 fingers are a new idea that fits thematically rather than being based off something specific. This is the point where lore theory needs to admit that not everything we see in games is going to be based on a pre-existing idea, and we have to allow for creativity on the part of the creators. So how have we gone from early Germanic lettering to eyes and hands? Clearly, the game needs a form of currency, along with items that allow for more gameplay mechanics. Runes fill that criteria conveniently, even if in name only. My own view is that Elden Ring clearly draws a different line balancing gameplay needs and plot integrity. The whole thing doesn't hang together quite as well as Dark Souls did, but the compromises allow for the overall greater scope of this game. What do you think? Did FromSoft handle the rune system well enough, or did you find it a bit odd? Does the game feel coherent, even if you don't understand everything, or does it just seem full of holes and lacking in internal logic? Do you notice problems with gameplay mechanics, or more with the plot? As always, I'm eager to see what you think in the comments below. Remember to subscribe and like, and as ever, thank you for watching.